everyone, and welcome to our virtual fundraising gala. I'm Susan Jang, and I'm proud to serve as board chair at Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're thrilled that so many of you are participating. I'm very happy to see many colleagues and friends attending from both near and far. CLSEPA does important work in our community, upholding values of equality and justice. It's wonderful for all of us to be able to come together as a community of shared values and common purpose. Everyone who attended last year's virtual fundraising gala reported that the event was informative and also a lot of fun. I hope we can replicate that experience again tonight. So, welcome to tonight's virtual gala, and thank you for making the time to be with us. We hope you will find this evening's celebration to be both moving and informative. Tonight, we'll share with you the remarkable story of a client who persevered to achieve her dream of gaining asylum in the United States. Her experiences demonstrate courage and resilience in the face of extreme adversity and show the importance of the services CLSEPA provides to members of our local community. In addition, we'll also present a roundtable panel featuring attorneys from CLSEPA's partner firms. These legal service volunteers will tell us about cases in which they have teamed up with CLSEPA to help clients face daunting threats to their home and employment. We will hear firsthand from these pro bono attorneys about how they successfully advocated to get positive resolutions for clients and about how these experiences of volunteer service have shaped their own lives and outlook. Before we move ahead with this exciting program, I want to take a moment to thank our annual sponsors for their generosity and support. We're very grateful to our many annual sponsors. Through their financial contributions, sponsor firms and companies demonstrate their commitment to joining with CLSEPA in service to the community. We want to take a moment to recognize our annual sponsors whose loyal partnership have supported us over many years. Thank you very much for your support. Top sponsors include Fenwick, Wilson Sonsini Goodrich and Rosati Foundation, Goodwin. Thank you very much for your generosity. And now, I'm pleased to welcome back our MC for tonight's virtual gala. He's one of the nation's foremost fundraising auctioneers, and since 1995 has raised tens of millions of dollars for charitable organizations from Honolulu to New York City. He has brought his lively and entertainment approach to many of CLSEPA's past events, both in person and online. In fact, we consider him a member of our CLSEPA family. It is with great pleasure that I introduce you to our auctioneer and host for the evening, Mr. Keith McLean.
Susan, great to see you, and thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. My name is Keith McLean with KLM Auctions, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be back here again with you this evening, and so pleased that you all decided to support us and to support this wonderful organization. Our aspiration for the evening is a couple things. First of all, we want to learn how Silicon Valley firms have been supporting workers, tenants, and immigrants living in our local communities. We want to feel connected with each other and our shared purpose. We want to work to build a better future together. And most importantly, let's have some fun tonight. So to get the fun started, we have a wonderful door prize to start things off. It's a box of gourmet chocolates, but not just any box of chocolates. It's a limited production chocolate collection from Fev Artisan Chocolates of San Francisco. And the winner of this exciting door prize is, let's take a look here. I'll see this in just a second. We have that. The winner is Rodolfo Munoz. Rodolfo, congratulations. You are our door prize winner. Enjoy those chocolates and way to start off the evening. So now, my friends, let me just get back here. Perfect. Now we're going to move right into our program for the evening. Area law firms provide CLSEPA with an important ongoing support in a variety of ways, from financial sponsorships, as we heard about from Susan, to use of facilities for clinics and other programs, to legal expertise through partnerships to provide representation for members of our community. We'll be hearing tonight from a few of the attorneys who have been helping CLSEPA clients stay in their homes and assert their rights in the workplace. Let's listen to these attorneys as they talk about their experiences advocating for clients and how those experiences have impacted not only the clients, but the attorneys themselves.
The case that we took to trial was a father and son who were being evicted and asked to leave because the owner of the property claimed that she wanted to move into the unit that they were living in.
And the case happened in the middle of 2021, right in the middle of the pandemic. And a lot of people lost their jobs. They lost their abilities to pay rent. They lost their apartments.
Finnegan's helped out quite a bit with the housing clinics that CLSEPA puts on. I had a really good experience helping out with the housing clinic, and I asked what other ways can we get involved. When the case actually started to go to trial and we realized that we weren't going to be settling, we were nervous. This was a very difficult case, and we told our clients about that.
And it was tremendous value to have CLSEPA attorney there every step along the way. That makes a huge difference because as someone who specialized in intellectual property, we have very little understanding about housing matters, and CLSEPA play a very important role in helping us with that.
Once we left the courtroom, that's when we got to talk to our clients. We got to break down exactly what happened, and they were thrilled. They were absolutely ecstatic, and we could see on their face that this was huge. This was life-changing, being able to keep their housing.
And after they fully appreciate and understand the jury verdict, they hug us. They gave us bear hugs with teary eyes, with sparks of hope in their eyes. And I would say that was the most wonderful experience of all the trials I have ever handled.
My clients were two men who were working for a high-end florist shop in San Mateo. And they'd been working there for many years. Both were Latino, and both had been just totally exploited the entire time that they had worked at this shop. They were given the harder, more manual labor type tasks. They were told they had to do that work because they were, quote, Mexican. They weren't allowed to speak Spanish in the workplace. The owner of the shop regularly berated them and humiliated them and even hit them. They weren't allowed to take breaks, whereas the non-Latino workers were allowed to take breaks. And when they finally, after all of these years, went to their boss's office and said, hey, we've learned that we have the right to take breaks, and you haven't been treating us according to the labor code, he said, well, in that case, I guess I'm going to have to examine your work authorization papers. So it was a threat. It was an implied threat. And they resigned from their job at that point. They couldn't take it anymore. And so we brought a constructive termination claim on that basis. But one of the things that I can't do very much of based on our business model in private practice is take on a lot of individual cases for clients who work for fairly small employers. But I'm still committed to making sure that the rights of those low-income workers get enforced, and partnering with an organization like CLSEPA is a way for me to do that. My hope is that by bringing this case and by resolving this case, that they were able to achieve some degree of healing from the experience that they went through, as well as get back on their feet economically after losing their jobs.
Thank you all so much for being with us here tonight and for sharing stories about the fantastic work that you've been doing with clients and with CLSEPA. I'm Cristina dos Santos, and here with us tonight we have Ming Yang from Finnegan, Henderson, Faribault, Garrett, and Dunner. Jordan Fraboni, also from Finnegan. And we have Becky Peterson-Fisher from Lou Peterson-Fisher, LLP. Welcome. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight. And so I'm going to start with the question of what motivates you to serve the community, like in the ways that you have through your partnership with CLSEPA.
You know, I went to law school to use law as a method of advancing social justice. That was my main motivation. So, you know, my heart is really in that work. And, you know, here in California, many of the glossy, shiny things we have are produced on the backs of immigrant labor. And one of the things that I want to do, in addition to representing executives in Silicon Valley, is also represent the low-income workers who are in this area and this community. And so this was a way for me to continue doing that.
I think for me, there's a bit of it that was the drive of community service. So as I was growing up in high school and college, I did things like peer tutoring, and that was one of the first instances I had of seeing where I could use the knowledge or skill set that I had in a way that could really help people. And I think having the opportunity to go to law school and be a lawyer and develop a very specialized set of skills that not everybody has the opportunity to do, it meant that the type of work that I was doing and the way that I could give back and get that same feeling of helping people, I could do it at an even more important professional level.
Growing up, I had a younger sister who became intellectually challenged and disabled at age 4. So having a member in our family like that allowed me to appreciate the fact that there are many people who don't have the resources you and I take for granted. They are the people in our community, and they are the people that can even be in our family. And growing up, I learned to appreciate the fact that sometimes if the community doesn't lend a helping hand, it can become a major challenge for any family and any members of the community facing difficulties.
So Ming shared a very powerful story from his upbringing that motivated him and brought him to the work and to the service. Is there anything that anyone else would like to share about how your upbringing has influenced what brought you to this moment?
I can share. So I started my coming out process when I was 14 in 1994 in LA. And it was an extremely hostile environment. I had a girlfriend at school, at a big public high school, and I was just subjected to many homophobic slurs every day, pushed around, tires slashed, threatened by the principals with discipline. Just all sorts of awful things happened. And one of the things that I turned to help me get through that was activism. At the end of my senior year, we had a real triumph, which is that we were voted the cutest couple in our high school, which was actually the first time that had ever happened in LAUSD. You know, I really saw change happening and people's minds changing, and people told me that things that we had done and just being there and being ourselves had actually changed their points of view. And so I think I've been on that path ever since. I've been involved in activism ever since.
Yeah, Becky, it's a fantastic story that you've had, and it actually means something to me too. So I also came out, but you know, a little bit later after I went to high school. And I think if it wasn't for people like you taking that initiative and starting to make those connections with the community, I think it would have been much more difficult for someone like me to also go through that. So the fact that I had people who were trailblazing, who were setting those examples and doing that work early on, it makes it easier for everyone else, especially, you know, I speak for myself, but it makes it so much easier for other people to see that path of how they can help the community.
Thank you. Well, it's been absolutely inspirational and fascinating to hear about the different experiences that kind of brought you to this moment and that motivate you, and also some of the really powerful overlap between some of those experiences. Thank you so much for sharing your enthusiasm and passion and what it's meant to you to work with CLSEPA and with the clients. I'd love to ask about whether you have thoughts on the impact of this type of service work on the community more broadly.
As we go through jury trials, as we defend people's rights, more and more people in the community and more jurors are hearing about these stories, are hearing about people getting evicted when their rights are not being protected. So I think the broader impact of not only about standing behind the people who needed the service, but also about getting the community to know our own people, getting the community to appreciate their rights, to respect their rights.
And to Ming's point, it's not just about hearing the stories or that they're hearing what's going on. It's that when they come back with a verdict in the tenant's favor, they're saying that they understand that these are important rights and that they deserve to be protected. So for me, seeing the jury come back with that type of verdict and really think about these issues, knowing that the community is on individuals facing hardship side, that's really important. And I think that's a huge impact that the work that we do has.
We may have quite a few people in our audience tonight who are considering doing pro bono work with CLSEPA. And I would love if you could share one thing, each of you could share one thing that you feel our audience really should know.
I would say it's an opportunity to continue to grow. And I mean that in multiple respects. There's the technical legal aspect, if you're going to be donating your time to help out with that. And then there's the growth as a person to connect with other people and to keep that front and center and continue finding ways to improve the service that you can provide people. So in many different ways, the growth that you can get out of those opportunities is not something that I have found in other places.
I will say, you know, CLSEPA needs you to volunteer because the amount of people who need legal services and can't afford legal services is staggering. It's absolutely staggering. And no legal services organization can come close to filling that gap. And so every little bit helps, and it helps somebody's life, and it helps in a really concrete way. And it helps this organization, but it also helps the whole community, and it helps you be a whole and complete person by giving back to the community.
And I would add that all the audience members, I'm sure you're all great, and you're all very good at what you do. But by working with CLSEPA, you can be superheroes of our community because you're talking about people who really need the resources. These are the people who feel that the door is already closed on them. But by working with CLSEPA, they are now seeing open doors. They are now seeing opportunities.
You've all spoken really eloquently about the ways in which this work can have a broader impact on our community at large. And I'd love to turn it a little introspective and inward facing around the ways that being involved in this work might change us within ourselves, change us in our personal lives, if anyone would like to speak to that.
When I think about the cases that I've worked on for CLSEPA, I think about those are the people that really need the help. Those are the people that do not have the financial ability to otherwise get help. They don't have somewhere else to turn. And whatever the systems are that are in place are not working as they should. And we need to enforce legal rights, and we need to be able to step in and help.
I think it's made me a better person because it's made me a more understanding and less judgmental person. I don't know how many times in my life I've heard people say, why doesn't that homeless guy just get a job? But, you know, I mean, I think about people trying to raise their families while living in a car, having fled domestic violence.
Now I'm able to tell my 10-year-old daughter about what her daddy does on a daily basis. As an IP attorney, I work on patents, I work on trade secrets, I work on licenses. But when I explained that to my daughter, she couldn't understand any of that. But after I spent a full day defending father and son in a jury trial, for allowing them to stay in their housing, my daughter could really appreciate that. My daughter can talk about how her daddy defended people's rights so they have a place to stay, they have a roof to live under, and they have a bed to sleep on.
I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to be with us this evening at our virtual fundraising gala, for your vulnerability and insight into everything that you've shared. It's been really powerful and moving to hear. And I also want to express our profound gratitude for the many hours of dedicated service that you have put in to serving our community and CLSEPA and our clients. We are extremely grateful, and thank you all so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you tonight. Thank you.
Wow, it's remarkable to hear about the dedication of these attorneys and how they go above and beyond in using their legal expertise to support people in achieving justice and redressing wrongs. Just as amazing to hear how their spirit of service has given them new insights and had an impact on their own lives, we have another story tonight, but this time in a client's own words. I want you to hear the story of Hilsia and her children who faced violence and fear in her home country and made the courageous decision to seek asylum in the United States. Let's take a look.
Me vine para este país con esperanzas de una ayuda para mí y para mis hijos. Mi esperanza era que mis hijos crecieran en este lugar libre también de violencias y agresiones, no como las que tenían en mi país. Mi vida en El Salvador fue difícil. Nuestros padres no nos hablan de la realidad que nos puede suceder ya adoptando una relación. Lamentablemente yo me junté bien chica, tenía solo 15 años de edad. Tuve una relación conflictiva de violencias. Mis hijos crecieron en ese ambiente donde habían insultos, violencia física, violencia verbal y aparte había mucha pobreza. Tomé la decisión de dejar esas relaciones tóxicas por mí y por mis hijos. Pues mi viaje hacia aquí, hasta este país, fue difícil. Pasé muchas cosas feas. Primero hambre. Tuve que viajar en el tren por muchas horas. Entrando a la frontera de Estados Unidos, fui detenida por migración. Estuve ahí cerca de 3 meses y llegando a este país quería mandar por mis hijos. Pocos meses de estar en este país conocí a mi actual esposo, el cual ha sido como un ángel para mí, para la vida de mis hijos. Junto a él decidimos mandar por nuestros hijos. Uno de los desafíos más grandes que tuvimos con mis hijos fue que también ellos fueron detenidos por migración. Recuerdo Grecia estuvo aproximadamente como 1 mes, Jefferson estuvo 2 meses y hubieron muchos asuntos legales para poder entregarme a mis hijos. Encontrarme con ellos fue maravilloso después de tantos años. Nuestros hijos vinieron a nuestro pequeño hogar, pero en un ambiente diferente, en un ambiente sin violencia, en un ambiente donde ha sido de tranquilidad. Cuando Grecia estuvo detenida con migración, le dieron una lista de contactos y estas personas nos recomendaron el servicio legal comunitario en East Palo Alto. Mi contacto en servicios legales comunitarios en East Palo Alto han sido con Misha y Nixie. He tenido mucho apoyo de parte de las dos.
For asylum cases, having access to legal representation can be life-changing. If you do not have access to an attorney, you just have to do your best and represent yourself, and it's basically almost impossible for anyone to be able to navigate that.
Fueron 8 años de espera y en esos 8 años, si no estoy equivocada, pospusieron la audiencia como por 5 veces.
Being in limbo is definitely stressful, not being able to plan your future or know what type of legal status, if any, you're going to have at the end of the day. You run the risk of things changing. So Hilsia's case has actually survived 3 different administrations. That has definitely impacted her case along the way.
Durante estos años ellas estuvieron muy al pendiente de mi caso, no solamente legal, sino que emocionalmente.
I come from a mixed status family myself, so I'm able to relate to a lot of the challenges and struggles that they face. It's really important to build trust with clients because in order to go forward with the case, we do have to talk to them about very sensitive details. Unfortunately, that means reliving trauma for the clients.
Hubieron nervios, hubieron sentimientos encontrados, hubo de todo, pero al final pues valió la pena esperar 8 años, porque pues la respuesta fue positiva, gracias a Dios.
Hilsia's resilience and her patience throughout the life of the case. She's been incredibly strong, having to wait for her day in court and having to work on the case and relive her trauma.
El recibir esa noticia fue lo más gratificante para mi vida, saber que tenía una oportunidad de estar en este país libremente de violencias. Y para mi familia, para mis hijos, para mi esposo.
Hilsia's asylee status now allows for her to petition for her husband. So he's going to be able to benefit from obtaining legal status through her. That also means the family has more stability and can plan for a future.
Le doy gracias a Dios y a las personas que me ayudaron y estar en este país, seguir apoyando a mis hijos, a Grecia, a Jefferson. Ahora tengo a Rodrigo, José y otro bebé que viene en camino y estoy contenta porque yo sé que la oportunidad de tener un asilo político es estar en este país y siempre estar con ellos y ver por su futuro.
Wow, what an incredible story. I want to start by thanking Hilsia for sharing her story and I want to highlight her courage, tenacity, and patience with the asylum process, which in her case lasted for years. I want to draw attention to her resilience and her unwavering commitment to building a brighter future for herself and her family. And we would be remiss if we didn't also acknowledge CLSEPA's role in providing legal advice and compassionate support that defended her rights and advanced her power to make decisions to positively impact her life. So my friends, this is why we're here tonight. Again, I'm so glad you all decided to join us. And I'm so glad that you've stuck with us through the program and are taking the time here to really make a difference in the lives of folks just like Hilsia. So here's how this is going to work. I've been asked to start by asking for generous donations in the amount of $5,000 down to $2,500, $1,000, $500, $250, and all the way to $100 with the goal being that one of those amounts, one of those investments in folks just like Hilsia and her kids, Jackson and Grecia, are going to work for every person or every couple in this room. So on that note, I just want to see who's really feeling it and ask anybody who can do it and for whom $5,000 is a meaningful amount to step in right now and make a generous donation in the amount of $5,000 by clicking the green button on the right side of your screen there. You'll see that right there. And I'm looking down here on my other screen. You can see the pledge $5,000 button right there. Look at that. Susan Jang, our board chair. Susan, thank you so much for your generous $5,000 donation. And Han right there. Han, our friend here, jumping in also at the $5,000 level. Thank you to both of you. So meaningful. That's just going to make an enormous difference here. Who else wants to jump in at the $5,000 level? Again, a fair amount of money, I agree, but the amount of good that can do, particularly for folks, frankly, who are some of our most underrepresented folks, some of the most vulnerable folks in our communities, our friends and neighbors. This is why we're here tonight, and your generation is so meaningful. I see another generation from Linda right there at the $5,000 level. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Again, it's so simple. All you have to do is hit the pledge, the green pledge $5,000 button right there. Or if there's another amount that works for you, please feel free to hit the pledge other button. Once again, the pledge other button. You can hit that, although I will be going down through the levels, so you can wait if you'd like to hit the level that's meaningful for you. So once again, anybody else at the $5,000 level, if that's a meaningful level for you, go ahead and hit the pledge $5,000 button. So far, we've had 3 very generous donors here jump in at that level. $5,000, anybody? Wonderful. How about the $2,500 level? If that's a good level for you, please feel free to jump on in. You can see we've changed the green button on the right side of your screen. Jump on in, hit the $2,500 level. Look at that, a Ming Tao Vang right there. Thank you, Ming, jumping in at the $2,500 level. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Again, we're having great folks jumping in here. Again, my goal here tonight is to have each and every one of you think about this. Think about Hilsia's speech and think about what amount might be meaningful for you to donate here. If it's the $2,500 level, now the time, the proverbial water is warm. So jump on in at the $2,500 level. You can see, folks, we've now crossed the $22,000 level, well on our way to hitting our goal. And we want to really, that's our minimum goal up there. You can see that right above me here. We want to blow by that. And your generous donation of $2,500 would sure go a long way to do that. Again, my friends, we're helping some of the most vulnerable folks in our community, and we're helping them with so many things. Again, the pandemic has really made the need for our services even greater. Low-wage workers, often the most at risk with their jobs, have really had some challenges here. Housing and eviction challenges, obviously, as a result of the pandemic, have been way up. And our essential workers, had to continue going to their jobs and really had additional challenges. And those are just some examples of some of the folks that we're helping out and that you're supporting here with your generous donations here tonight. So if 2,500 is the right level for anybody else, jump in at the 2,500 level, or maybe the 1,000 level is good for you. Actually, and right there, I see it looks like Jean jumped in. Jean Marino jumped in with her generous donation at $2,000. Thanks, Jean. Really appreciate that. Again, you can feel free to hit the pledge other button right there, the black pledge other button. That'll make a difference. If you want to click the more info button right there, you can see a little more about what we're doing here. That's right in the middle of the picture on the right side of your screen. Or obviously right now we're at the $1,000 level. Look at the 1,000s coming in. I want to thank Jacqueline Hea for coming in with her generous donation at the $1,000 level. Thank you, Jacqueline. Really appreciate that. We also have a generous $1,000 donation from Larry Langdon. Larry, thank you as well for your generous $1,000 donation. Marita Musante jumping in at the $1,000 level. Thank you, Marita. Appreciate that. Folks, we are cooking. We're almost at the $25,000 level. One more generous donation at the $1,000 level would push us all over that next sub goal. If $1,000, there you go. Katrina Logan jumping in at $1,000. Thanks, Katrina. Appreciate that. We've passed our $25,000 sub goal, well on our way to our minimum goal of $30,000. But we have a secret goal that we're not disclosing here that we really want to hit tonight. So let's keep the donations coming in. Again, this is why we're here. Once again, I've got to thank Hilsia for sharing her story. It's not easy to do. That's not easy to get on camera and talk about such a personal matter the way she did. We really appreciate that, especially sharing stories, about the journey that her children and she have experienced immigrating to this country. So again, Katrina jumping in, Marita, Jacqueline, Larry, anybody else at $1,000, so appreciated. If $1,000 is the right level, feel free to jump in right now. It's so easy. All you have to do is click the green button on the right side of your screen. Or maybe $500 is a good level. My friends, our goal tonight is that one of these amounts, one of these investments in folks just like Hilsia and her family, our friends and neighbors right there in East Palo Alto, again, some of the most vulnerable folks in our community. Our goal tonight is that one of these amounts, one of these investments in these folks and folks just like them is going to work for everyone here in this room. So again, if 500 is the right level, Mary said, yes, that's the right level for me, $500. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate that. Again, we are streaming towards our low goal of $30,000. I know we're going to get there, but we can't do it without your help. Again, if $30,000 is the right level, if $500 is the right level on the way to getting to our 30, jump on in at the 500 level. Miguel Molina right there. Thank you so much at 500. And Patricia, thank you for your generous donation at the $500 level. A lot of board members jumping in, a lot of friends jumping in here. Again, really appreciate that. Whatever amount is right for you. Again, we are hoping that one of these amounts, one of these investments, like I said, in some of the most vulnerable and under-resourced folks in our community is going to work for every person or every couple that's watching here today. Workers, tenants, immigrants, neighbors in East Palo Alto and beyond, community members. These are folks who are integral to our community and honestly wonderful folks, some of whom, you know, were given some challenging things in their lifetimes. And that's why we're helping them. And that's why your help tonight is so important here. So again, if $500 is the right level, please feel free to jump in with your generous donation at $500. All you need to do is click the green button on the right of your screen. You can see right there. Anybody else at $500? Last call at $500. Fantastic. All right. Now we're moving to a level that I'm really optimistic is going to be wonderful for a lot of folks here in the room. If the $250 level is the right level for you, please take a moment and click the green button on the right side of your screen here. It's so easy. All you got to do is click the pledge $250 button. We always get a lot of generous donations at the $250. And as you can see, we are charging to our $30,000 goal tonight. And I know we're going to get there. Again, if $250, look at that. Ming Tao jumping with another donation of $250. Thank you, Ming. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Who else wants to jump in at the $250 level? Again, I'm not an accountant, but this is totally tax deductible. So if $250 is the right level for you, now's the time to jump in. Again, maybe another level is right for you. Again, we're going to move down to our 100 level in just a second, but right now we're at the 250 level. So if that level or higher is right for you, you can always click the green pledge 250 button or the pledge other button right there on the right side of your screen. Again, it's so easy. Feel free to hit the pledge other button or the pledge 250 button. Again, if that's the right level for you, go ahead and click that. Again, we're at the $250 level. Very hopeful that one of these amounts, one of these investments in folks just like Hilsia and her kids is going to work for every person or every couple in this room. So if $250 is the right level, please feel free to jump right in at the $250 level. Again, we're at the 250 level right now. Almost going to move on here, but I just want to give the 250 level just a couple more seconds. Look at that. We've had Jason jumping in at the 250 level. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that. Han jumping in at the 250 level. Thank you. Jacqueline jumping back in at the 250 level. Thank you so much. Look at that. We're almost at $28,000. I know we're going to hit our level here. I know we're going to get to 30,000, but we can't do it without you. We can't do it without your support. So if $250 is the right level, please feel free to hit the 250 level or maybe the last level here tonight, maybe the $100 level. And by the way, also I meant to say Jory Steele jumped in at the $200 level. Thanks so much, Jory. And Grace Kawahira jumped in at the 250 level as well. So thank you to both of you. Again, if the 250 level is right, jump on in at $250 or maybe the $100 level for you is right. If the $100 level is good, we just change that on the right side of the screen. Please feel free to jump in at the $100 level. It's so simple. All you need to do is click the green button right there on the right side of your screen. Click the pledge $100 button. Again, that's why we're here today, my friends. The most important part of the evening. Here we go. Look at that. Elizabeth jumping in at the $100 level. Thank you. We also have Bruce has jumped in at $100. Kevin for $100. Thank you. Tim at $100. Thank you so well. Morris jumped in at $100 a little bit earlier. Thank you so much. Again, these are all, and then Sunil jumped in at $100. Hannah jumped in at $100. Folks, if $100 is the right level for you, please jump on in, make your $100 donations right now. Again, it's so easy. All you have to do, there you go. Miguel jumping in at the $100 level. Again, thanks, Miguel, for your second donation there. Again, if $100 is the right level, Joyce jumping in at $100. Thank you as well. Sean, thanks so much, Sean, for your generous $100 donation. Again, if $100 is the right level for you, jump in. You can see we are so close to our $30,000 goal here tonight, but we can't do it without you. We're at over $28,000. Another $1,700 gets us there. Maria jumping in at $100. Thank you so much. Brenda jumping in at $100. Nice to see you again, Brenda. Thank you so much for your generous donation. Folks, we are getting a lot of donations. We're only $1,500 away. 15 more $100 donations would get us to that $30,000 goal. I know we can get there. I know we can do this tonight, but we can't do it without your help. Look at that. William says, yep, I'm feeling it. I'm jumping in at $100. Misha says, I'm in at $100 as well. Thank you, Misha. Folks, look how close we are. We're just a little bit over $1,000, another 10 or 12 donations would get us there to our $30,000 goal. William jumping in saying, yep, I'm in for $100. Thanks, William. Appreciate that. Again, anybody else at the $100 level, this is why we're here. The most important part of our evening. Again, if $100 is right for you, jump on in at the $100. And actually, you know what? I want to make this a little more exciting. We are so close tonight, and I know we can get there to our $30,000 goal. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to introduce our last donor game. And this was so much fun. We had such a good time with this last time. We are going to do it again. So here's how this works. Let me just explain this really quickly. So we have procured, and I don't know how we got this. It's a flat out donation, and it is an incredible donation here tonight. Our last hero prize this year is an overnight getaway and dinner for two at the Inn at Spanish Bay in Pebble Beach, right by Carmel there. Does everybody know where that is? I mean, the Spanish Bay is one of the nicest resorts, one of the nicest golf courses in the country, let alone Northern California. It's so close, about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from the Bay Area, depending where you are. And this is a chance to get away, and it's an easy drive, get away from the Bay Area to an idyllic setting located, again, on the breathtaking coast in beautiful Pebble Beach, right by Carmel there. Feels like you've been transported somewhere entirely special, nestled among majestic Monterey pines and fronted by Scottish-style links golf course. Indulge in spa packages, afternoon tea, daily bagpiper performance. It's just a fantastic world-class dining. Includes your choice of restaurants, cocktails in the lounge by the fire pit, close to charming Carmel by the sea, 17-mile drive, and the dramatic vistas of Big Sur. Again, my friends, on-site spa, saloon, pool, fitness center. So many great things here at Pebble Beach, right at Spanish Bay. And this can be yours, but you have to be the last donor here tonight. So this is how this works. Anytime you make a donation, you're committing to that donation, right? You're making that donation. But at some point, we're going to have a last donor, and our last donor gets to go home with the prize here this evening, gets to go home with Spanish Bay. So right now, Elizabeth just jumped back in at $100. She says, you know what? I want to go to Spanish Bay. And by the way, it's not just Spanish Bay. It's 2 nights plus a $300 gift card to use towards golf, spa, restaurant, whatever you want. The value of this package is over $2,300, and it's going to somebody for just $100 if and only if you're the last donor. So right now, Susan just came in. Susan says, sorry, Elizabeth, I'm going to take it. So right now, Susan is our last donor, and if nobody else donates, Susan's spending 2 nights in Spanish Bay, except, sorry about that, Han just jumped in. Han, welcome to the game here. Han just jumped in at the $100 level. So now if nobody else donates, Han is going to be going to Spanish Bay. Again, beautiful Spanish Bay right there in Carmel. 2 nights plus a $300 gift card to use however you choose. That's going to go to Han, except, whoa, Madeline just jumped in. Madeline, welcome to the show here. And by the way, our total tonight, folks, we're at over $29,000, less than $1,000 away from our $30,000 goal. Madeline was going to be last, but then Vinuta said, I'm going to be last. I'm taking it. I want to be the last donor. Remember, every single time you make a donation, you're committing to that donation. You're going to be leaving that donation with us here tonight. But the last donor, at some point, I'm going to say the D in sold. That's going to be it. We're going to close out the system, and it'll show on the screen who our last donor is. But that's going to be somebody. Oh, Patricia just came in and said, sorry. Actually, Tom came in even before that. And then right after that, Patricia came in, said, I want to be the last donor. Folks, by the way, if you look at the number above me, we only have $700 left to hit our $30,000 goal. I know we're getting there. We can't do it without you, and we can't do it without our last donor, who right now is Patricia, except, Susan just came back in. So now, Susan, that's your second donation. So Susan's committing to $100 a couple times there. So a couple $100. Thanks, Susan. Appreciate that. But then Katrina just said, sorry, Susan. I'm going to be the last donor. I want to go to Spanish Bay. I'm going to take the 2 nights and the $300 gift card. And again, so Katrina's our last donor, except, Vinuta just said, no, I'm going to take it. I want to be our last donor. Vanuta just came back in with her $100 donations, and I'm looking at the clock here, and we got to be winding this up pretty quickly. Han came back, said, I want to go to Spanish Bay for $100, but then Cristina just came back in and said, I'm going to take it for $100. And folks, by the way, we're just $200 off our $30,000 goal. I know we're going to get there. Right now, Christina's our last donor. She's going to take it unless somebody else donates in 5, 4. Katrina came back in. Katrina said, sorry, Cristina. I'm going to be our last donor tonight. I want to go home with it. But then Mary came back in at the last minute. But then Sarah came back in with her generous $100 donation. But then Sean came back in with his donation. Now Linda just came back in with her $100 donation. Linda's currently our last donor. Linda, you're going to Spanish Bay for 2 nights with a $300 gift card. If nobody else donates in 5, 4, Linda came in, but then Sarah came back in at $100, but then Margaret, welcome to the show. Margaret just came back in with her generous $100 donation. So Margaret, right now, you're our last donor. Nobody else donates. You're going to Spanish Bay, except Katrina just came in for $100 with another $100 donation at $100. Christina, you're going to Spanish Bay unless somebody else donates in 5. I got to be wrapping this up. 4, 3, 2, anybody? Oh, Margaret just came in at the $100 level. Margaret, you are now our last donor, except then Sarah came in for $100. Then Katie came in for $100. Then Rodolfo, welcome Rodolfo. He just came back in at $100. Now he's our last donor. Rodolfo, you're going to Spanish Bay unless someone else makes a donation here in 5 seconds. 4, and keep in mind, you don't want to be at the very last minute. We have about a 3-second delay here. 3, 2, anybody else jumping in? Oh, Margaret jumps right back in at the $100 level. Thanks, Margaret. But then Madeline jumped back in, but then Maria jumped right back in at the $100 level. Margaret says, I'm going to be our last donor. I'm at $100. Folks, remember, every time you click on the green button here, every time you donate, you're committing to that donation here. We're not going to bump it up this year. This is going to be our last amount. Our only amount is the $100 level here. Margaret's currently our last donor. She's going to Spanish Bay unless somebody else wants to jump in the next 5 seconds and donate just $100. Margaret's going to be our winner unless somebody else comes in with the $100 in 5, 4, 3, 2, anybody else? Oh, Elise jumping in at the $100 level, but then Venuta says, no, I'm going to be last at the $100 level. Anybody else jumping in $100? Margaret says, I want back in $100. Spanish Bay, 2 nights plus a $300 gift card to do anything you want to do there. Margaret's currently our last donor jumping in. All right, I've really got to be closing it down. This time is for real. Again, we've been doing this for a few minutes. We're right on time here, and I want to stay on time. By the way, if we get one more donation, that is going to take us to the $32,000 level. You can see right above me, folks. We are cooking here, rapidly approaching our next sub goal after we hit our minimum 30,000 goal. So thanks for that. Right now, Cheryl is our last donor. Cheryl's going to take it home unless somebody else donates $100 in 5. Who's going to Spanish Bay? 4, 3. Beautiful Spanish Bay. Carmel right on the water. 2, 1. Last call. Anybody else? Last call for Spanish Bay. Venuta just jumped in. Maria just jumped in. Looks like Nixie jumped in. Margaret just jumped back in. But I've got to close this out. I'm going to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last call and sold it right there. Congratulations. Let's see. Venuta came in. Then Nixie came in. Who is our last donor? Nixie, looks like you're our winner there. Congratulations, Nixie. Appreciate that. 7:20, right on time here. Folks, we have done a spectacular job. Look at that. We overshot our $30,000 goal. We could not have done this without all of you. Thank you so much for your generous help here, for your support here. Again, we could not have done this without all of you. We're at $32,000, but we're not done yet. Keep in mind, our donations, we're going to keep that open for the rest of the night and really till the end of the month. So hopefully you can tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your relatives, they can still make a donation. We're going to keep the donation portal open till June 30th. So once again, you have about another 2 weeks to make a donation. I want to thank everybody for their generous donations here today. We could not have done this without you. And then one last thing we have to mention, because it's so important. None of this matters. It doesn't do anybody any good unless you click the pledge cart button. You can see the black and white pledge cart in the upper right-hand corner of your screen there. Before you leave today, we're going to hear from Board Chair Susan in just a second. But before you leave, please listen to her final parting words. But before you leave, be sure and click on the pledge cart button. It's so simple. Checking out is just like Amazon. It's really, really easy. This doesn't do anybody any good unless you check out. So please hit the pledge cart, the black and white pledge cart button in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And I think that's it. We've raised almost $33,000, exceeded our goal. Could not have done this without you. Thank you so much. The Fund and Need is going to be open through the end of the month till June 30. Tell your friends and neighbors. The pledge card, check out. And that's all my announcements here today. Again, Keith McLean, KLM Auctions. Always a thrill working with all of you and with CLSEPA. Such a wonderful organization. So proud that all of you are part and so honored to be a part myself. And at this point, we're going to turn it back over to Susan Jang, our board chair, for our final words. Take it away, Susan.
Wow, What a remarkable evening. Thank you so much for your generosity. It's amazing and heartwarming to experience such an outpouring of support. Thank you to everyone for joining in and participating to make our second virtual fundraising gala a success. Before we sign off, please watch your inbox for an email in the coming week. It will contain a link to the recording of our virtual gala. You can experience the whole evening again if you like, or better yet, if you know someone who wasn't able to join us tonight, please share it with your friends and colleagues. The link will be live until the end of the month, including the opportunity to donate to our Fund a Need campaign. Even if someone you know missed tonight's event, they can still add to tonight's amazing fundraising total and support community legal services. Thank you very much to Keith McLean for a fun and exciting evening. And from all of us to all of you, thank you and good night.
Thank you to our dedicated volunteers.
Thank you to our loyal sponsors.
Thank you to our resilient community members.
Thank you to our generous donors.
Thank you to our board of directors.
Thank you to our talented and compassionate staff.
Thank you to tonight's Gala heroes.
And so many thanks to you,